Clooney has change of heart about refugees after he's forced to give big chunk of money to Muslims. Hypocrisy and double standards are unfortunately par for the course with the rich and famous in America today. They support and throw their substantial support behind policies that will never have any impact on them, but will greatly, usually negatively, impact those of us who don't live in ivory towers. And for all of their high and mighty rhetoric, they're rarely ready to put their money where their mouth is when it comes to anything that will impact their day-to-day life. Sadly, while many of these policies that they claim to support do end up being passed, they never feel the effects of it, and the rest of the nation is left to deal with the ripple effect. One such policy that many who live in gated communities and go places with bodyguards support has to do with striking down the immigration and the travel ban that President Trump enacted practically moments after taking office. George Clooney has been in opposition to the ban, citing the fact that his wife is an immigrant from the Middle East. However, it looks like when it comes to actually laying down the cash, he's not quite down with that. Via Milo Yiannopoulos, following the sale of immigration activist George Clooney's tequila company for a whopping $1 billion, a number of thoughtful Twitter users have come up with the splendid suggestion: why not use some of that money to care for refugees? According to the New York Times, Casamigos, the tequila company Clooney founded with two of his friends in 2013, has sold to Diageo for $700 million in cash upfront and $300 million should the brand perform well over the next 10 years. The transaction makes Mr. Clooney one of the most successful celebrity investors around, the outlet states. This, of course, places George Clooney in a prime position to support the Syrian refugees he and his wife, immigration lawyer Amal Clooney, have been so vocal about. As Breitbart reported in February of 2016, the Clooneys visited German Chancellor Angela Merkel and praised her stance on immigration. "You know, in the United States we aren't doing enough," George Clooney said following the meeting. "We are a little less involved than we should be." Clooney has also described Trump as a xenophobic fascist, while his wife Amal has claimed Trump's desire to tighten immigration regulations as unrepresentative of U.S. values. Luckily for Amal and George, the massive sale of Casamigos, which will net them about $233 million, means they can do a great deal to take care of the refugees they love so much. As a number of Twitter users are currently pointing out, there is no word yet on whether or not George Clooney will take the splendid advice of these thoughtful Twitter users. If the past behavior of celebrities is any indication, however, he probably won't. Earlier this year, social media users called for outspoken liberal and pro-refugee author J.K. Rowling to house refugees at one of her many mansions throughout the world. Several users even pledged to buy plane tickets for the refugees to ease some of Rowling's burden. A Change.org petition was created which read, "J.K. Rowling has often announced her solidarity with Middle Eastern refugees on Twitter. She is a well-known advocate of open borders and often stated that Europe has the duty to give every single one of these refugees from all over the Middle East, rarely war zones, asylum and welfare." Everyone who represented a different opinion was viciously attacked by her, and she is not alone. Many other multimillionaires and billionaires seem to be fond of virtue signaling about refugees. Since she is a sheltered member of the rich elite, who is very much disconnected from the ugly reality of rape, murder and destruction which many of these refugees bring with them, we think that it is time for her to show some true solidarity, the petition continued. J.K. Rowling has 18 spare bedrooms in her mansions in Britain and could easily give 18 refugees a long-time housing, not to mention the space available on her giant property to erect refugee shelters. Tragically, Rowling never responded to the gracious suggestion,